So thank you everyone for joining us today. I can see a lot of you are already here. We will be waiting a few more minutes to give more people a chance to join. So I think we might wait until 12:05, like, to give people a chance. Just in case, we will be recording this event. So we love seeing everyone's faces, but if you don't feel comfortable, you can turn off your camera, and then we will share the recording of this event with everyone. For questions, that I'm sure you have so many questions just like me. So please write them in the chat and we will read them out loud. At the end, we will have a Q&A where you can ask anything you want. We will unmute you and you can, here, I'm just accepting more people here. Okay, great. So you can ask all the questions at the end, and in the chat meanwhile, we will be sharing any links that are relevant also in the chat. So yeah, thank you so much for joining. We'll give it another couple of minutes.
Sounds good. I'm curious how many people here have actually gone to Burning Man.
We ask that question all the time.
Yeah.
We also, well, you know, it's interesting to see what if you're talking to people who've been before, that's sort of different than if you're talking to people that sort of haven't been, because you have this extra layer of explaining the event in a way. But
we found that there are like a certain part of the population in VR that's never been to Burning Man, and this is their first Burning Man experience. And when they do finally get to go to the event, it'll be like, oh, I remember this. This is exactly like it was in VR. Whereas we have people who have been to Burning Man who come to BRCvr and they're like, oh, I recognize this. It's exactly like it was, you know, in the physical world. So you have these like
two different kinds of routes. Yeah. Some people are gonna be like, look, you made that cartoon world look real. And some people are gonna be like, look, you made the real world look like a cartoon. Depends on which direction you're going. I don't think people are.
It's so much nicer that we can fly in this world rather than not having a bike from. Like,
yeah, that's so much nicer to fly.
Flying, teleporting. I wish those things existed in reality.
Yeah, exactly, we're gonna miss that.
Burning Man is huge. We are definitely gonna miss that. We're gonna get to Playa and be like, I can't hit a button and go directly to the temple.
Right,
what?
Right.
No, I'm sure the flying. That is great.
Well, even in the real world, Rachel was saying how she was walking through the apartment and was turning to go into the kitchen, and she didn't turn her body, she moved her thumb.
Yeah.
We're gonna all have to go to therapy when this is over. Some kind of strange times.
For sure.
So,
well, if you wouldn't mind, write in the chat if you have been to Burning Man before, so that we can kind of take a poll on how many people have been to Burning Man. So if you have gone, please like yes, I went to Burning Man, and maybe the year. And it'd be really interesting to see how many people have gone.
Yeah, this Burning Man is sort of echoing off of the 2014 Burning Man. So yes. Because Greg started it.
Benton has been.
Benton, you're an old school burner, 93 and 95. That was like the word.
It's exactly the same as it was in 95.
Yeah, it's a lot like 95. Yeah.
I'm a 98 person, 1998. So Benton wins.
Yeah, and I'm a 99.
Someone was planning to go this year, but now you can actually experience it without going, and maybe go next year.
Yeah, I remember those hot springs. I went in 98 too. So yeah, I mean, I went in 99 and the hot springs were still open. I think that was the last year that the hot springs were open.
Yeah.
And now they're completely protected. They're a ecological, there's some rare fish.
You get like scorched there, right? Like medically burned at the water's so hot. Isn't that?
There are some of the springs where the water's too hot, but there's one in particular you can go in that's super comfortable. But there is apparently the little fish that ate your skin, that little fish is rare, And so the entire place got cordoned off, no human beings, as an ecological protected area because of this little rare fish that ate the dead skin off your body while you sat in the pond.
No, they do not have the drive-by shooting gallery. I think that
We should, though. We could do that.
We could do that. I think that when you have an event with 70,000 people, you'll notice that it gets a little more, okay, you can't do that anymore. Like there's, can't speed your car across the playa and run over a guy who's in a tent like that happened before. So, but yeah, we could do the drive-by shooting range, which was an old school.
I mean, it would just be gamifying, the guns and a moving target. So we'll just do that in our spare time.
Yeah, the time we don't have.
We got a lot of little fun project ideas that are brewing.
We have a lot of fun. We're trying to bring back, and obviously we're just talking here, but I mean, I don't know what it's, but if you went in 93 and 95 and I went in 98 and Athena 99, there was this spirit of, I guess the Cacophony Society element of it, which was that there was a little bit more tongue-in-cheek, not taking itself too seriously, a little more comedy into Playa. And in the intervening years, the technology's gotten amazing and the cars have gotten amazing, but it's also gotten a little more serious. So I really like the street theater, the fun, the comedy element of it as well. We're trying to inject into this Burning Man when we can. We're keeping an eye out for where can we make this a little more self-deprecating.
Well, I think we already have some people here, so I think we should start. So as more people come in, we're going to be accepting everyone from the waiting room. And for the people that just joined, thank you so much for joining us today. We're so excited to have here all the co-founders of BRCvr. And just so that you know, we're gonna be recording this event. And even though we love seeing everyone's faces, if you don't feel comfortable, you can turn off your camera and we will share the recording with you as soon as it's ready. We have muted everyone in the conversation, but you can type all your questions in the chat. And at the end, we will also have a Q&A where we can unmute you and you can ask as many questions as you want. So I think we can begin. So for today's happy hour, we have a Burning Man universe in virtual reality. My name is Andrea, and I'm here joined by Athena, Greg, and Doug, the co-founders of BRCvr. Just to give you a little bit of context, BRCvr is a recognized universe of the Burning Man multiverse that we will get to later, that they will explain what everything means. And it'll be the home for Black Rock City, where you can actually go to the event from your own home through VR, and you will be able to interact, you will be able to see the playa, you will be able to see the streets, the art, and there will be a lot happening. This project is also done in collaboration with Altspace VR and Oculus. So if you're like me that has never been able to go to Burning Man, this is your chance this year without having to leave your house. And maybe when it's back, we can all do in real life things, we can all go. But I think to start, it would be great if the co-founders of this amazing project can introduce themselves. So if you can tell us a little bit about yourselves and how you got involved in this project. So maybe we can start here. I have Athena first. So Athena, if you can tell us a little bit.
Sure. My name is Athena, and I started on this project in 2015. And I know that's like, what? Wait a minute, it's 2020. So Greg actually started, and then he'll talk about this more. He started building this project in 2014 as a passion project. He's been involved with VR for a very long time. And I was the regional contact for Los Angeles and the president of a not-for-profit called the LA League of Arts, which is the umbrella organization for the LA burner community at that time. So he came to me at the end of 2014 and put goggles on me, and I've never had goggles on before. I mean, not VR goggles. And he was like, you got to see this. And he showed it to me, and my brain melted. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe what you just created. You solved the problem of year-round Burning Man. Everyone wants year-round Burning Man. And at the time, it actually wasn't social VR. It was just you could go and see the art and experience it, but not with any other people. The technology of social VR hadn't quite gotten to what it is today. And I showed it to the board, and we decided to fiscally sponsor it, and we took it to Burning Man, and Burning Man was like, oh, this is really cool, but we don't see a purpose in it. So it kind of fell into a hard drive and got stuck on a shelf. And so that was the beginning of my involvement with BRCvr. And I have been involved with Burning Man since 1999. I, in 2002, started producing the LA Burning Man Decompression Arts and Music Celebration, which happened in downtown LA. And then in 2009, I became one of the official regional contacts. And in 2011, I started the not-for-profit, which is still going strong today. It has a great board of directors, and there's a bunch of regional contacts for Los Angeles, and that whole legacy is still going strong and producing beautiful art. So that's how I got started in the project.
Perfect. So now maybe Doug, can you tell us a little bit?
Well, I will say, I think Greg should go next because his part of the story is sort of before mine. So Greg, you take this one.
All right. So around 2011, I started coming up and falling in love with the idea of building virtual spaces to bring people into worlds that they couldn't go in before. And I was throwing this idea to my bosses at CBS and all the other places going, hey, would this be a cool idea? And technology wasn't ready for it. And then I partnered with my best friend around 2013-14 to do something with the Coachella Music Festival. We pitched that idea to them. They're like, this is cool, but we don't have a home for it. So we just did it on our own. We did it rogue. We rebuilt the Coachella Music Festival, rented a helicopter and flew over the festival legally so we could get photos of it on top. Such not a good idea, but we did it anyway. Released it for free, and that was the same month that Oculus and Facebook merged. And with this thing that you've just done, if you can put it on virtual reality, we'll move on with that project. So I'm like, all right, great, cool. And then a few months later, I started getting into the Burning Man community and met Athena, and I went, can we do this for Burning Man? I'd never been before. And she had that same reaction, and I started building Burning Man for it. Even when I started researching all the art, everything, started building it, had like a quarter of it built even before I showed up on Playa and saw how big and massive and spectacular it was. Had a little panic attack. And the next day, went through the motions of, all right, this is how I build it. I'm gonna build it, I'm gonna make it. And built it in 3 or 4 months. And then me and Athena showed it to the org that summer, and then it sat on a shelf for a while, and then Doug.
Great. My name is Doug. I have a filmmaker background. I went to film school at USC and was in the electronica scene in the 90s, and then went to Burning Man in 1998, and I made a documentary called Journey to the Flames, which is sort of a Burning Man doc. And I'm one of the leads of Black Rock Yearbook, and started shooting a lot of stuff in 180 3D and going to parties and showing everybody my movies on an Oculus Go. And I was been screaming from the rooftops that people need to get into VR. And as the COVID started hitting earlier this year, I was like, oh God, my birthday in June is gonna definitely not be a real birthday. And I've been hanging out in AltSpace trying to throw little parties with my friends, and hey, come on. And I said, okay, well, I need to pick a platform. So I looked at a bunch of them, and I picked AltSpace, and I saw that somebody had a Matterport scan, which is what they use for real estate to go into, to walk through houses you're selling. And someone had put it up on AltSpace, and I said, oh, Greg has a camera, one of these. I called up Greg, and I said, hey, do you have any scans I could test upload into AltSpace? And he said, sure, here's one. And then I did that. He goes, why don't you upload my old Burning Man world up there? And so I said, okay, cool. So I uploaded it, and he and I were now standing on Playa together, looking at each other as cartoon characters. And he says, I'm gonna keep working on this. So we started like builds, and we started working on it on our, and then Burning Man got canceled. And then And then we were like, uh-oh, you know, this is some, now this could actually, now we can actually be with people on Playa. The technology is caught up, and now Burning Man is canceled, and now it just became a weird train going as fast as it can. So we've all been in a whirlwind for sure. So that's sort of where we're at, the story.
I can imagine it's such a big project to take on because it's massive. And I think that I was talking to Athena, I think last week, and she was telling me how you have all your team meetings in VR and can explore all the worlds. And it's just fascinating what you're doing. And it's a really, really big challenge. I was wondering, like, so many people here like are familiar with Burning Man, but if you could just maybe tell us a little bit about briefly about the festival and how like community and collaboration and all these important things come together in order to make this possible, and just like talk a little bit about it to also give some context to what's gonna be coming.
I can definitely talk to what Burning Man is, and then I'll let the guys talk to what VR is, because that is, I'm part of this project because of my connection to Burning Man, but I am very new to VR. It's been a huge learning curve to me. But Burning Man is a lot more than an event in the desert. And the three of us are aware of that. We are doing what we can to bring the community together. So Burning Man is a culture, it's a subculture that is global. The numbers have been anywhere from 500,000 across the globe. Some people say 1 million people across the globe who participate in the main event, which happens in Nevada. It's in the upper Nevada desert, where 80,000 people, that was the number last year, get together, build a city, full city, based on the foundation of 10 principles. And you can go to the Burning Man website, you can Google 10 principles of Burning Man and they will come up. And that is the foundation for the entire community. So as long as you hold these principles in your heart and you live your life by these principles, then you can consider yourself a burner. And there are regional events all over the world in about 320 different countries and states. And these are smaller Burning Man events that are sanctioned by Burning Man through regional contacts. And so thousands of people get together at these events. Sometimes tens of thousands of people get together at these events. The largest event outside of Burning Man is the one that happens in Africa, Africa Burn. And I don't even know what their population would have been up to this year, but of course it got canceled. The last regional event that happened was Love Burn, and that was in Miami, and then the pandemic happened. And not a Burning Man event, but I actually got trapped at a festival in Panama as the pandemic hit. And I was in the last festival on Earth. And it was called the Tribal Gathering.
Oh, wow. It kind of sounds like the idea, like it's all this different parts that make it a bigger thing, like kind of like the multiverse with all the universes. So I think that it's something that maybe everyone that's joining today would love to learn more, like what you mean by a universe as part of this multiverse, of this bigger thing.
So every year Burning Man has a theme, and this year the theme just randomly for, way back in October or whatever they released it, was called The Multiverse. And it's sort of like giving people a context to build art from. They don't have to, but you could build art in the theme, and it helps people, give them, something to build towards, or ignore it, it doesn't matter. So it's just kind of weird that they picked the multiverse as their theme, and then they got the COVID hit, and then they had to stop the event. And then they're like, well, we're going to create multiverses. So there's our project, but there's 6 or 7 other people doing different kinds of universes. So some are phone-based, some are browser-based, some are goofy little fun game things, and we're one of the few, or maybe the only one or the few, that are actually going for VR-based multiverse. So officially, we're a recognized universe in the Burning Man multiverse, meaning we're one of these 7 ones that Burning Man was sort of collecting into a bin and saying, okay, we like these, these are the ones that we see that are doing it and stuff like that. So we're all the multiverses are meeting on Zoom calls with Burning Man and talking to each other and stuff.
So all the universes come together in VR to like talk about.
No. We do a Zoom call. They're all such different platforms. There's no one place we could all meet but Zoom. Like some are like a little game on your phone, and some they're just not relatable. They're all such crazy different multiverses. So
if you go to the Burning Man website, if you go to kindling.burningman.org, sorry, kindling, like
we can put it in the
small
chat.
thing you burn, kindling.burningman.org. There'll be information about all the different universes that are part of the Burning Man multiverse. And Burning Man even tried to like, is there a way that the artist could build something and then it shows up in all 8? But our technologies are all so different. Like most of us are on the Unity platform, but we're all so different that there is just no way to program it where, here's a 3D model. It goes to all 8. It just doesn't, if it was designed to do that, that would be great. But we all ran out of the gate like racehorses with jet engines and to build this thing. And then Burning Man was like, hey, why don't you guys all come and be one big happy family? And we already had the foundation of our technologies done. So they don't work together.
Yeah, but it also has a beauty that all of them are so different that you get to experience it from so many different ways.
That's right.
So
we don't have a phone app and we don't have a web browser app. Somebody else has that kind of scene. We're not going to have the most people in our BRCvr. We're not going for numbers because we're in a VR headset and we have a limited amount of people that can be in a room. So with the caveats of VR, we're going to be the most immersive, because when you strap on that headset and you're looking around and you see your friend there and you're walking up, it's when you experience it, it's so different from this 2D version that I'll show you. It looks like an old school video game. You're like, but if you strap it on in 3D with your friends, it's a whole different thing. So we're not going to be the most crowded, but we're going to be the most immersive for sure.
That's fantastic.
And possibly have the most fun. I'm not going to say that, one way or the other, but possibly.
That's
great. I mean, we're having the most fun now. I don't know. The other universes are probably having a blast, but we are having a great time building this thing. And we're just having
let me just say real quick on that note, we have a version of ours open on the AltSpace platform, and we let people come in and it's not a curtain that we're pulling off, a week before. It's been open for a month or two, and because of the barrier to entry, in a way, a headset, an Oculus Quest costs about what a Burning Man ticket costs, actually. And getting people in the world and, showing them around. So we've let people come in, we've given them tours, and then they tour their friends. So we've kind of let it be open and let it be working now. So we're already, tonight we have a party in the world at 7 o'clock. We're gonna have a DJs and we're gonna be hanging out. So we're already doing it now. It's not like we're building something and then it's released. It's sort of like a rolling experiment, if you will.
That's great.
It's been open since mid-April.
Yeah, we have been live and open since like April 3rd, and then Burning Man canceled 1 week later on April 10th. And this is an invitation, by the way, for all of you on this call. If you want to come and party with us tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time, so that would be 9 o'clock Central time.
Oh, it'll go into late for different
times. But it'll go really late. But 7 o'clock Pacific time. What you have to do is get into AltSpace VR, either on your PC or on your headset. And then if you go to the popular worlds, we will be listed because we're going to have a ton of people in that world. And then you can just come there. It's called the BRCvr block party.
Yeah, we'll be listed on the events. There's no Mac client for AltSpace right now, but we hear rumors that it's coming soon. So.
Yeah,
and it is not on WebXR. That's a different platform than AltSpace.
Yeah, WebXR. And I think they're one of the multiverses too, right? I don't remember.
Wave XR is one of the multiverses.
Can't keep it straight.
I know, me
Wave.
neither.
Wave, right, okay, gotcha. All right, sorry, onward.
No, this is great. So hopefully we will see everyone tonight at the party, and we will share with you the link of where it is in a minute. I think just to move a little bit to another subject is like Burning Man and like VR and all these new technologies have given people really a way to explore things when they cannot be there physically. And just from all the pictures that we see from the festival and all the experiences that people have, it seems like art plays a very big role in Burning Man and in the project that in BRCvr, it's also a very, very big component that you can explore. So I think we all would all be curious here if you can tell us like what role does art play for both the festival and for your project?
That's a huge question. Burning Man is a lot about art. But everything is art. And for us, for BRCvr, we consider everything art and the artists to be creators. So if you have a theme camp, which is an interactive installation, or a sound camp, which is like with DJs, or an art car, which is a car that's it's basically a piece of art on 4 wheels, because in no way does it resemble a vehicle that you would recognize at all. So it's a roving piece of art. And then we have art installations, which are static pieces of art. And everything is art, and every artist is a creator. So we have creator services, and you can have a piece of art that's on the playa, and then you can have, and that's in a low poly count version, a low resolution version. And then you go into a teleportal, and it looks like, you know, Star Trek teleportal. It's blue and it's got lines in it. You walk in it and you get teleported to this art world. And that world is a high resolution version of that art piece. And because art is what everyone comes around, art is the catalyst that brings people together for its creation. And so it's the community builder, it's the inspiration for building community. We have that same thing in BRCvr, where everyone's going to come around and come into these worlds and build community for the creation of art.
That sounds great.
To add on that subject, so a lot of what we have in our project now is from 2014, but we're also building a lot of stuff that's never been seen before. And so one of the things that's been a good bridge is, like, right now is a very interesting, tricky time for the entire world. And so when we build for the main playa area, which is the area that you can walk around on your way to another portal, that world should be based on what people are familiar with. You know, we don't want a playa with a floating mountain castle as an art piece. It needs to feel like something that you would see in this place that you know and love, and that's rooted in nostalgia. But then when you go into the other art pieces, the other worlds, that is the gateway to a future, a better idea. So Burning Man on Playa is a past that we're all comfortable with, but then we jump into a better world. And I think one piece that really exemplifies that is Solar Shrine that you'll be seeing. That it's not on Playa yet, but it's one piece that I'm really excited about that exemplifies that. So it's kind of the design principle that we've had so far is nostalgia, and then a hopeful future in front. So that's kind of how we're trying to express it with art.
No, that sounds fantastic. Like, we all can't wait to see it. I think that here we have a lot of artists that would be interested in learning more. So I think we would all be curious to know what types of artists can show their work or create their work. Do they have to be VR artists, or can they be working in more traditional mediums, or how can they participate in this event?
Well, we also have people that have 2D art and tilt brush art. You know, in Center Camp, we're trying to put together some art. A concentric camp at Burning Man is generally a art gallery. So we're trying to put in some 2D art there from different kinds of artists, which we're working on. And then some people have tilt brush art, which sort of can be converted. It's a little challenging. So we're trying to include all that other places, and maybe we'll make a camp with more 2D art, you know, painting and photographs and stuff like that. For example, the yearbook camp on there, my camp is all photographs from Burning Man. So it's a world of, I mean, I guess I could show it to you later, but the world of photographs. So there's different kinds of mediums we're trying to include.
I think, and so artists can maybe get in touch with you to participate, or you're also looking maybe for people to help artists working in other mediums to translate their work into digital, because I know that right now you have the ability for different type of creators to submit their work to participate in the event.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we have a website with we have a lot of stuff sort of coming at us. So we created a system of intake on our website. So you fill out an artist application, or if you're a modeler looking to help out, sort of a modeler application. And frankly, we're not going to get to everything before the event, but we're not looking at this as Burning Man's done, we're putting this in the box. We could still keep rolling past the event and adding art. You know, our current is to get to Burning Man, and then after Burning Man, we could keep getting people's stuff into the world. It's not like we're gonna throw it all out, you know. So it's, even though we won't get to everything in the time we have and the resources we have, you know, it still can keep going.
So it'll
yeah,
be
like the event is August 30th through September 6th, and we call September 7th day one. It's day one of year-round Burning Man. So if we don't get you in for this event, we'll get you in after. We'll get you in September. I mean, just recently we had a conversation with the programmer that's helping us build the Man Burn, and that's like it's a huge, complicated program that's going to happen once for, like, you know, 10 minutes, and then we're done. And he's like, it would be just shame just to do it once. And so I kind of jokingly said, well, we could do it next Saturday too. So we could like do it on September 5th, and then we could do it on September 12th, and then we could do it the Saturday after that, and give people this constant reason of coming back and watching the Man Burn again, and coming back and watching the Man Burn again, and coming back and watching the Man Burn again. And that can happen. And it's like, this is an archival tool. We can archive the art. That's what Greg originally designed it as, so that the art from 2014 is there. We have Mega Man, which is personally one of my favorite men from Burning Man, is this big, giant, 70-foot tall man. And we have all this nostalgic art from the past, and we can have 2015 art and 2016 art. We've been talking about having a little button, we haven't quite figured out how to do this technology-wise, where you click on it and it tells you the name of the piece, the artist, and what year it was on the playa. Or if it's, you know, has only existed in the digital world. So there's, you know, if we don't get to your art for this year's event, still at it. Like, people are still going to be coming. They're still going to be experiencing and seeing it. And if there's a constant new, there's a constant reason for people to keep coming back.
Yeah, so every time you come in, there's new things, and there's more things happening, and so you go in and explore. Sorry, Doug.
Sorry, no, I do want to say real quick, for those who haven't been to Burning Man, every year the man's base, what it's on and the building under it and all that is based on the theme. And this year in 2020, it was going to be these trippy, sort of circular, multiverse looking things. The one that's on there now, when Athena said the base that she likes, is a base that happened to be there in 2014, which is just one giant, huge, gigantic man. It usually is not that big. It's usually on top of a building and it's smaller. It's like, but this one year they did it just like they said, okay, let's just do the thing. Let's just make it no building. Let's just do one huge man. And that's the one that's on there now. That's what she meant by man base that she liked. Just want to explain that real quick.
Thanks, Doug.
No, it's great. So for this, since it's like changing all the time, I'm sure like the audience that you're expecting, it's people that have been to the festival, but you're also opening it up to a lot of other people that maybe cannot travel or cannot attend. So I was just wondering, like, what type of audience are you expecting, or have you seen that is very interested? Is it a lot of the audience from the festival, or are you expanding it to, like, you notice like more people are getting excited?
I don't, yeah.
We always, as
We don't know what
burners,
to
we
expect,
always love-
to be honest. We really
have no
don't.
idea.
I mean, we have all these
Yeah.
meetings with Burning Man, and they're like, how many people do you expect? And we just stare. All 8 universes and the representatives from all 8. And we're like this with all these little windows. And Burning Man asked that question, and we all just go. We don't know. There might be just this onslaught of hundreds of thousands of people that want to experience the 8 worlds, at which we can't have in ours because it just doesn't have that capability. We're working with AltSpace and Microsoft, and we're all trying to solve this VR problem of how do you get a ton of people into one space at one time in VR. But, you know, there's other platforms that are cell phone based. Well, they can have a bunch of people in the same place at the same time, but you're on a cell phone. So different technology will be able to bring on different people. But are they burners? Are they technology people? Are they in the art community? Are they just, you know, curious? It'll be a little bit of everything, I think. I think we're going to have more technology-based people because they understand the technology. So they have an easier way of getting in. The VR community is chomping at the bit to participate because they already have the headset. So it's an easy point of entry. For most of the artists, they're like, does it have a hammer and a nail? Because if it doesn't have a hammer and a nail, I have no clue what you're talking about. So then we have to explain VR to people, which is like not easy. And it's hard enough to explain Burning Man to someone who's never been, then to explain VR to someone who's never experienced it. And then to explain Burning Man in VR, who's never been to Burning Man and never had VR, it's forget it. Like I just give up. I'm like, I can't. So we don't know. That was a long answer to a very
No,
short.
but that makes a lot of sense. Like it's a completely new challenge and a way to experience something that is happening for the first time. So I'm sure like there's like a lot of challenges, but also a lot of like new possibilities for you. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that you guys have encountered, because trying to translate in real life event into digital, you have to like kind of be selective, but at the same time it gives you the option to do anything you can imagine. So
we're pushing AltSpace, the platform, to the limit for sure, and we could break it in places, but you know, they seem to be okay with that for now.
On their programming too. I mean, when I finally got to a certain form of civilization and I could get on and see what the guys were like raving about, because Doug and Greg were like, oh my God, Athena, you gotta see this. And I'm like, I gotta get to someplace with internet. And I finally saw it, and we were, you know, talking to Burning Man, and this was all back in April. And we finally got to meet with AltSpace. They were like, yes, we love this. And of course, AltSpace is a whole bunch of burners, and Microsoft is a whole bunch of burners. I mean, it was like a perfect place. Doug didn't intend it, but we got there, and there's this whole mythology that AltSpace was designed by this guy, Gavin Whitty, and Gavin was a burner, and he baked the principles into the business model of AltSpace. So the community of AltSpace are basically burners, and because they follow the same basic community building principles. And then we came in, it was like, hey, one big happy family. And then it turned out that Gavin and Alex Kipman met at Burning Man. And so then Alex wanted to buy AltSpace, and they talked at Burning Man and then sealed the deal. And that's how AltSpace ended up with Microsoft. So there's this whole, you know, big mythology around it. And then we happen to be there. It's what we call playa magic, that all of this came together that way. But one of the things we told them at very beginning is like, whatever you need. And I looked Katie right in the face and I said, it has to work on Mac or the burners won't accept it. And they were like, okay. And they have been feverishly. And you know, getting your platform on a completely different operating system is not an easy task. And then we wanted them to do it in like 4 months. So they have been feverishly working to get a Mac client up and running before Burning Man. And sometime in the next week, they're supposed to be launching it. So fingers crossed, will be PC and Mac. But my recommendation, buy an Oculus Quest. Yeah. It's about the cost of a Burning Man ticket. Buy it right now because it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for you to get it. It's just like the back order and mailing them and everything's slow. So if you really want to experience this, get an Oculus. But fingers crossed, we will have both PC and Mac client working before Burning Man.
Yeah, that's great that you can experience it even if you don't have the headset, for people that are not able to get it, to have like the full-on experience that you can still see it. I think it's so important for people to be able to experience it. I think that at CADAF, when we learned about all this project, we're so curious to ask you, what are the advantages and different opportunities in doing this as a VR experience? Because I heard about flying, I heard about a lot of things that you can only do in a project like this. So we would all be curious to know.
I think that, yeah, I think that I'll say there you can fly and but the number one advantage is just hanging out with your friends. I think that we've had a lot of people that I know who've been in sort of, isolated by the situation going on in the country, and they can't leave their house and stuff, and they're sort of yearning for a social connection, and they bought the VR headset, and beyond our Burning Man project, you can go into play Cards Against Humanity in here and other worlds and play games. And so I think that when we're all together, walking around, making jokes, checking out other worlds, I think there's that social connection especially, and it's been helpful for some people's mental health to have some kind of connection to other people. I feel like before last year, there was a big rush to AR, in the world, certainly Apple and Microsoft HoloLens, and it just is AR, and VR was sort of receding a little, but this COVID situation plus the Oculus Quest sort of democratizing, you have a whole all-in-one headset. You don't have to have tethered, you don't have to buy a PC, that sort of, you can see how that's going to start building up, has made VR more vital in a way. So we're really enjoying it. So it sort of gave it a new life for hanging out with others, because no one wants to be home looking at a thing on their coffee table playing a game. They want to get out of the home and go hang out with their friends. And what better place to do that in a world that you can't go to this year because it got shut down by the virus. So there's a nostalgia element to it. There's a community element to it, and there's flying. So those are the things.
I will say that we they keep using the term social distancing, but we don't need to social distance. We need to physically distance. Physical distance is what you do to protect your health. We need to socialize. We're human beings, and socializing is super important. So AltSpace is social VR, and it allows us to socialize with people all over the world. I've met incredible people from all over the world that I would never be in the same place at the same time with, except for at something like Burning Man. And I have these incredible intellectual conversations. There are organizations in VR that lead meditations and talks about death. We need to talk about death, especially now. And they lead these talks where people can just openly talk. And because you're in VR and it's your avatar, people are more open to talk about what they need to talk about. I've been to Black Lives Matter talks. I've been to exercise classes. I fought a goblin with this person that I met. We came into a world at the same time, and then we had to fight this goblin together, and it was kind of funny. I couldn't stop laughing, and I was horrible at it because I don't really do those types of games. So my eye-hand coordination was really off. It was quite funny. But we're socializing. That's important. Physically distance and socializing.
Yeah, that sounds like one of the things that people need the most right now. And they can find like whatever they're drawn to in this new world where they don't have to social distance. So I think that the sense of community is something that we have to really do things like this to not lose it, because everybody's too isolated.
There was a question that actually that Kristen asked that I think is actually a really important one, and I don't want to lose it because it's going up in the chat. And it says, how do you handle aesthetics and render resolution if you have many artists contributing? And Greg can talk about this one because he built an amazing toolkit that kind of solves this problem. But Greg, do you want to talk about the various aesthetics?
So trying to keep it from being too technical, but basically we wanted all the artists to be able to build what would look on Burning Man. And over the years of us going to Burning Man, photographing everything, we had an entire catalog of every kind of material that you could think of that you could build with Burning Man, you know, tarnished steel, wood, fabric, all that stuff. Categorize this in this nice and an orderly bit of textures that people can use to build off of. So if you have one set of materials that everybody can work from and save them time so that artists don't have to look through all these different places to get the right textures, to UV map something. We were working very hard to try to make sure that nobody had to do anything more than once. You know, 100 Burning Man artists should not be looking for the right dirt picture or the right picture of tarnished steel. I'll take care of that. I'll do that. You guys just be creative, work on your vision, and just have the fun part. So we built a toolkit that tries to solve about 60–70% of the actual initial startup of building your art, and then we all keep it kind of working under the same umbrella. So that's we can go into the technical details, which would bore everybody, but we're trying to figure out how we really make it where it's kind of a nice standard that everybody can work off of.
No, I think that sounds great. I'm just looking also in the chat to see if we have any more questions. I see Athena just responded to Louise.
I will say that toolkit's on our website, BRCvr.org.
Yeah, I'm about to post right here. Yeah, I'm posting right there. So
and it's
come and download it directly.
Yeah.
Did you post it, Greg?
I just
I can show it. Hey, Greg, I can show it to them.
There we go. There we go. There we go.
Actually, yeah, Doug, you can go to you can show the what is it called?
DPW.
The screen share of the toolkit of DPW World if you want.
Yeah, and some people are messaging me privately. This is the first of 2 toolkits. We are putting together the skyboxes and the ground texture in the next toolkit. That'll also have some fun lights and some other fun objects. This is just to get everybody based, but we have everything you're gonna need. We're just slowly
tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time, Greg and one of our other developers, Cause, is going to be teaching a workshop on a Zoom call, which is free to attend, about how to utilize this toolkit. And we're recommending a free program called Blender, but you can use various different programs if you're more familiar with another one. But they're going to show how Blender works and how to bring the toolkit in and how to utilize it. So let me see if I can find that information, and then I'll post that in the chat as well, and you guys can attend.
That's great. So we stopped. If you want to maybe give everyone, Doug, a glimpse of what they might expect when they come into the space, I think we would love to see.
I'll give it a shot. I will say the 2D version doesn't do it justice. It looks like a video game, so, you know, and the frame rate on Zoom doing the translation will be bad, but I'll give it a shot if you want.
I think that's great. I feel we all have so many questions and we need like a part 2. Like once you have everything up, we need a, like to see all of this. So I think that right now as we look at this, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat. And
I'm not good at navigating on the 2D. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is what it looks like.
Also, yeah, and this is also the build that's on right now. The new test look that I'm playing with, Athena and Doug haven't even seen yet. So, but we're testing to make it look better and better every day.
Yeah, this is me floating in the air above Playa. I'll walk here. Let's see, I'll get to the ground. We'll walk towards the mountain. And you guys could ask questions and talk. I'll just walk around a little. I don't need to narrate.
I think that one thing that I'm sure everybody's curious is, like, we talked about all the possibilities this brings, but also it has a lot of challenges. What has been the biggest challenge you've encountered with building this world?
You mean this year or the past 5 years?
Right.
Up to you. I'm sure.
Pick a year. You're gonna have to narrow that question down.
Like, what is the hardest part about recreating something that is almost hard to explain what it is for people that haven't been there? Like, has it been hard to do the social aspect, or has it been hard to like try to encompass everything that makes the event so special?
So I would say, and it's hard to say this is the hardest thing because it's also the most beautiful thing. People have been jumping in on this, and just it's been touching this wonderful nerve with them, and in a time when everything's really stressful right now for a lot of people, this is just alleviating a lot of that. And we're working with some of the best people in the community and the industry and the world, all these different aspects. It's just trying to figure out, okay, how do we fit it all in? How do we fit all these people in that are trying to bring their best self into it? And it's at least from my aspect, I feel like I'm trying to figure out how do we get everybody the chance to bring their best self to build this the best way? And then of course that's organization, which we're doing an amazing job of, but we can always do it. You know, it's giving the entire community the opportunity to build and express themselves, and us trying to making sure we bring in every bit of it we can. So that's probably the trickiest part at this point right now, when we're having this interview today. That's where we're at right now. A month from now or a month ago, totally different answer. And yes, we have dust storms. We have dust storms.
So this is what it would look like because we can only fit, so much on this playa. This is what it would look like if you walked up to a camp, a good example. So you would come up here. Here's like the yearbook. That's for camp, and you see there's a portal here. So this is like a low poly version of the yearbook, and it looks like it did in Center Camp Circle. We're in Center Camp. That's Center Camp over there. That's where they serve coffee and have chess games and people playing guitar and stuff all 24/7. So that's what a portal looks like.
Oh wow!
And then if you walk into this portal, it'll load up this world, because that's do you guys think I should walk into this thing? All right, let's see.
Let's walk in.
All right, here we go. So we walk in, and then it fades out, and then it loads, Altspace loads the new world. And then, so now this could be your world, anything you want. We don't have to worry about it. This is our camp, our little camp. Oh, look, it's camp. And then you walk outside, and you're in yearbook. Here's all the photos that we've taken. And
how many photos are there? Wow.
And then this is the yearbook that we produce every year.
Normally this runs at about 40 frames a second on a headset, just to let everyone know.
And you can get right up here and and there's another year's yearbook here. And you can kind of just sit around and look at photos of people and hang out. And so that's kind of like one, and that's, a little more fantasy vibe. And then we have a portal back. You can bookmark the page, but we have a portal back to Black Rock City. So we can go here and then load up go load back and to the main world. And the main world has these, here we are, there we go, boom. Here's that Mega Man she was talking about. Here's the tents under the man. And all these portals here are the worlds we're building. We're working on, you know, the Mind Warrior, these are just camps, and there's the yearbook there. And we're sort of collecting them, you know, the ones that we have sort of ready enough to collect here under the man. So these are sort of like a central hub where we can find other worlds. Let's go into Burning Man Night. This is my favorite.
Yeah, that's.
And it becomes nighttime at the same time that you're
yeah,
working.
we'll do it manually, but here's an example.
We'll swap out 4 times a days throughout the week. And that's kind of what I've been working on the past couple of days is getting that system set up.
Hold on, let me, I can't fly, but I can turn it, oh, flies on. Okay, great. So let's just go up. We like to, this is what it looks like at night. And we actually like to hang out up here and kind of have meetings because it's kind of relaxing. You're sort of floating above it all. So the way we fly in with the PC is kind of janky. But here's center camp, and here's what it looks like at night.
It's huge. Wow.
And then, so we like to kind of hang out here. So we sort of float above the city and have meetings, you know, like, oh, hey, what's going on? Such a nice background. Okay. So anyway, you guys keep asking questions. I'll just walk around. I'll fly over.
So the art is based off of 2014, but the RV layout and the tent layout is based off of 2019. So I took a satellite photo of Playa, and then I have my whole range of objects, tents, RVs, trailers, and kind of just played this match. I'd look at the map and look at the shape and go, that's a shift pod, and I put a shift pod on it. That's a shade structure, and I put it there. And so I would do that 20,000 times with all these different tents. So you kind of, you try to follow the chaotic nature of how the city is laid out and planned. But yeah, like.
So this is first camp. This is where the Burning Man administration lives on Playa. And this is actually pretty accurate to first camp. That tower right there is actually the webcam tower that they have. So, you know, sort of zoomed in on this area, made it very accurate. And then, yeah, so.
Antarctica, the place where you buy your ice.
Exactly. So it's the little things that count. So do you want to open it up for questions? I cannot see the chat when I'm sharing my screen for some reason.
Yeah, go to the toolkit world.
Go to the toolkit.
Okay.
I just shared the information in the chat. It took me a while to find it actually, which was really funny because I thought we had already created like this Eventbrite, but whatever. So I just shared the direct Zoom information for the 11 p.m. Pacific time Zoom call to explain how this works.
Yeah.
Flying on the keyboard is hard.
It's not, it's just slow. It's not hard, it's just slow. So I'm actually, you look where you fly, so, but,
all right, so yeah, this is kind of our parking lot, sales room floor of all the different objects that you can build your camp with. So we have dozens of the types of RVs, lots of different art pieces, rugs, tapestries. Try to really save people as much time as possible in building their camp. And then they can also modify to their heart's content. If they build in their own world, they can modify these things. This is just a good base just to kind of get people so invested right away in building their camp that they at least commit some time to go, all right, I got to build it, I got to finish it. If you start from complete scratch, you might not finish it, but if you put your first pillow down on the ground you might keep on putting more pillows down. So
it's like a mix and match of things that you already have that it makes it so easy for people and like so accessible for people to create their own camps.
Yeah, and I also had a conversation with a couple of the more notable higher end artists that I haven't even talked to Doug and Athena about yet, but they're going to start building their own objects and their own sculptures and like geodesic domes shapes that will be based off of our texture map on the toolkit. And I'm hoping over the next week or two that we can start building a community base where people upload their files that can be shared amongst different members of the community. So we can build the community that shares different assets and different techniques with people, because we have a very creative community. We just need to figure out a way to retrain that kind of creativity to a new medium, and then once we do that, I want to go to Burning Man and see what other creative things people come up with. That's my.
So this is the toolkit in VR form, and these are super efficient, so you won't worry about blowing out they're very optimized for VR. So
you can put 50,000 RVs in your world and it'll still work.
I mean, and there's like everything you could need. It's not just RVs and tents and generators, but there's also geometric shapes. So if you had a piece of art that you wanted to recreate, you could take all these various geometric shapes that Greg created and put them together and then put a texture on it, and boom, there's your art. So if you're like, well, I don't want to do a dome and a tent and an RV, I'd rather have this sculpture of a woman doing this. If you have the 3D model, you can include it. But if you don't, you could probably sculpt it with all the various shapes that Greg has come up with.
We even have hookahs in there. So.
And bars.
And bars.
Because if Burning Man has one thing, it has like 400 bars all over the place giving out free alcohol.
Yeah, I worked on.
I'm concerned about, Greg, I did want to ask you about this. I'm a little concerned about the people who live in this particular trailer. It doesn't not look safe to me, and I just don't know if it's advisable. This trailer.
RVs in there. That one wasn't safe either.
Thank you so much for sharing this with us. Like this is amazing. Like we knew already about the project, but seeing all this, we're definitely gonna get an Oculus Quest and explore this world, and I'm sure everyone here is very excited to see it.
Yeah.
I think we're a little past the time because we didn't even realize. So
Okay.
But thank you so much. I really thank you for sharing this with us, and we wish you all the best during these months that are going to be so much work. And if CADAF can help with anything, we're always here.
Thank you. The world that Doug is showing right now is actually where the party's going to be tonight. So if you get into Altspace tonight, come to this location, and that's where we're all going to be.
Perfect. So I think everyone here will join. Well, thank you so much. And we will be sharing this recording with everyone once Elizabeth lets me know. And thank you, Elizabeth. But thank you, Athena. Thank you, Doug. And thank you, Greg, for joining us today and sharing this amazing project with us. Keep us updated. And I'm sure
this is a lot of fun. We'll see you guys. We'll see cartoon versions of you in the future.
We'll be there
tonight. For sure tonight. All right, I'll see you guys later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.